Hello friends, welcome to Days in Life. Today we'll talk about interesting topic, the burden of being Indian middle class. The size of Indian middle class has always been heart of narrative around India's economical development. How many middle class people are there in India? You change the parameter and number changes. So if government also, once government change the parameter, the number will change. So nobody knows how much really Indian middle class are, because with the change of parameter, number changes. Now, in an attempt to provide a more holistic or multi-dimensional understanding of Indian middle class, one author from the England, this is Mary Astley of the King's College London, she used a composite indicator based on the multiple economical and social characteristics, including like income, skills, credentials, social networks, housing or lifestyle, and on that basis she defined a middle class. And using this framework and data, she took data from the Indian Human Development Survey 2011-12, which was last available data at all India level. Astley profiles Indian population into different class group. For instance, Astley captured the lifestyle aspect of middle class using data on a household consumption pattern and purchasing power. Similarly, the housing aspect of class is defined using data on the house ownership and sanitation facilities. Based on all this data, she finds that 28% of Indian population is middle class, and out of this, 14% is lower middle class and about 3% is upper middle class. She finds that while there is a significant diversity in the type of the job among the middle class, but large majority of the middle class are the salaried employees. And this is otherwise also thinking in India, salaried employees are primarily middle class, or middle class are primarily salaried employees. And this followed by the people who are running the small business, or you can say small time or local businessman kind of people, they are the secondary to middle class, running a very small business. Now, normally we have a perception that middle class are primarily into urban phenomena, but that was not the case. When we look at this entire data, almost 1/3 or say 33% of the middle class in India have basically located in the rural area, which is not the common perceptions. Another thing which she highlight is the top 10% of the Indians, they hold almost 77% of the total national health. So one side is the 10% of people who are holding 77% national health, and there is more than 50% of poor people who are holding very less, or maybe 5-7% of the national health, and it is in the middle class the entire story lies. So today we'll talk about the kind of burden this middle class is facing. In life, when we think about what is wrong or what is right, who bother about them? Middle class. Because for rich people, they only think about what is profitable or what is not profitable, what is worth or not worth. Poor people in any case does not make much of a difference whether right or wrong. It is a middle class who are primarily bothered what is right, what is wrong. We talk a lot about morals and the value systems. For rich people, profitability is the moral. That is the value system for them primarily, barring some exceptions. Poor people, they does not get confusion with all these heavily words. They are doing their own stuff, and it is basically middle class who is basically struggling morals and value system, all those fights. Same way is happening in the case of emotion. For rich people, for them it's either profitable, non-profitable. They're not bothered about the emotions. Poor people, first their requirement is to earning for them, running their families. So what is emotion for them? And it's a middle class who are into emotions, suicide, and all those things are happening. Many times we bother about what people will say. So what people will say if we do that. Rich people don't bother about that. Poor people in any case not much of the issue. It's a middle class again under the burden of what people will say. Same way God fearing. Rich people don't bother about God. They says it's your karma which will take care of anything. It's a middle class, primarily God-fearing people. We talk about religious conversion. Rich people, they don't see difference between different religions. poor people, sometime under some pretext of money, some conversion keep on taking place. But it is middle class who make all the hue and cry about religions and its conversions and all these related issues. When it comes to another interesting area, donations in the religious institutions, many rich people, they make partnership with the God. Whatever they are earning, right way or wrong, they give certain percentage to God so that God become partner in all the whatever he is creating. Many rich people, they donate there so that it takes care of their next birth part, but for them it's a small amount of money. Poor people do not have much to pay to the God, and it's a middle class, they end up paying a huge amount of donations in the different religious institutions. Another area comes to tax paying. Rich people, they pay tax, but it's so much of money they don't bother about. Poor people do not have much to pay to tax, and it's a middle class who not only pay tax, income tax return filing, GST filing, and every year he look towards February or March when the new budget will come, what rebate finance minister will announce, whether this rebate will save me 5,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees in a year, and next day they look at newspaper, all the newspaper have the different calculation how much you can save with the new tax policy and all those things. So they are poor chap after tax. When it comes to voting, rich people, they hardly vote. Poor people, they vote either on the line of the religion or on the caste or in the bulk they post, and say middle class, he vote and make somebody's government. And government is made, these politicians are primarily rich people, and these rich people, they take care of primarily poor people because they are the bulk of the people who vote for them. Not about middle class. Middle class again end up paying only tax. When you look at industry point of view, who are the consumer? Rich people again don't bother, less in the number. Poor people are not the targeted consumer. It's a middle class who are major consumer. So all the advertisement, TV and everything being targeted towards that middle class. Warren Buffett once talked about investment. He says rich people, they invest in the assets. Poor people, they invest in the liabilities. And the middle class are the people who invest in the liabilities thinking that this will become the asset, which does not happen. And that is what the middle class is. They keep on investing something which does not turn profitable, and they end up taking one more liability. That's where the normally investment goes. Think about healthcare and hospitals. Rich people can go anywhere. Poor people will go to government hospitals, and it's a middle class who are running all the corporate hospital, private hospital, who charge bombs. Same is schooling. Rich people can go anywhere, they can sell their children anywhere for schooling. Poor people will go to government college, and it's a middle class who will go to all private college which charge huge. So if you look at responsibility or burden of the middle class, the entire burdens are being carried by this middle class. And this list is long. When I'm saying certain parameter, I simply look at this list is long. And this remind me a song of the 1977 decade when the movie come, I think it's named Kuli, where Amitabh Bachchan song was there. सारी दुनिया का बोझ हम उठाते हैं, लोग आते हैं, लोग जाते हैं, and that is situation of the Indian middle class. Question comes in the last, how to deal with that? The first of all, we need to accept a fact that we are part of system, we are not the whole system. It is not a responsibility, or it's not our responsibility to carry the whole burden, whether it's moral, value, emotions, or God-fearing, religion, everything. Because middle class feel, I'm only carrying everything. Leave it. Let's focus on your own happiness, your own life, so that if you are more happy, you live long and you take care of your health, rather than being concerned about everything, entire country or every damn thing. So that middle class, instead of being highly burdened, be more as a happy people. I hope you will think about it, and all the best to you.